here onto the far western corners of Arathusa, and we're sitting with the wild dog pack. I can't tell which pack this is at the moment, and at the moment I can't even count how many there are. They're breathing heavily. It's obviously been a very hot day. It remains a hot day, and they've obviously eaten also fairly recently. They've got fat bellies, and they're just enjoying the shade. I can see two. We're not going to move forward at the moment. I can see two in the distance there. One standing, one lying down. Brian, how many can you see here? See if you can count them, everyone. I think I've got 4 here on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 in the background. There, you can probably see the one coming up now. There we go. And completely unlike the cats, they will be quite active during the day. Lions in that stage of corpulence would be flat out asleep. Just so special. This is the second sighting we've had in them in the last few days. Magnificent that we have had this opportunity to spend so much time with these dogs. Like I said to you earlier, quite a lot of them around at the moment. 2 different packs, maybe even 3 different packs around at the moment. Now I cannot hear the final control, so the dulcet tones of Kirsten, Red, McLennan, Smith are a mystery to me. So if you do hear your question repeated by Brian, it's because Brian is the only one in contact with her. And one of the things I've noticed about the drought at the moment, the heat, is the silence. So if we are quiet, you can just hear the sort of gentle speaking of the rangers around here, some of the guests. But there are no birds. Just the odd woodland kingfisher, but they'd call in the middle of a volcano. Nothing else. Some little babblers I heard off to the side. Check. There was a question, everybody. We didn't get it. We'll try and get it again for you now. Because we're so far west, the comms are quite difficult out here. That's the sound of a vehicle moving, obviously. I can now speak a little bit more normally because I'm not speaking to the guests on the other side of the vehicle. Just getting static.
Grace is asking something about the water and animals.
Yeah. Sorry, Gracie, I know you're trying to ask a question about the water and the animals, and if I know you're asking probably how are they getting enough water. Well, I'm going to guess that that's what you asked, Gracie. We're on Arathusa. There's a big dam not too far from here, and so these dogs will have gone down to the dam at some stage during the day to have a bit of a drink to drink, some water to drink. Right, once that vehicle's out, we're going to move into a slightly different position and get a slightly better view. I don't know which pack this is. I don't know how many there are in total here. And I'm a little bit confused by the whole situation, to be honest. But let's try and figure it out. Well, no, I was saying to the VR rig as we were driving in here that the dappled light in the shade is quite difficult to see. You may even be able to hear Craig describing what WildEarth does. Very good description, Craig. Well done, Craig.
Hello, Craig.
That's exactly what we do. Do you know which pack this is?
Pardon?
Do you know which pack this is?
I'm afraid it's the district pack.
Where are the rest?
I have no idea.
Oh. So Craig, I don't know if you heard that. Craig said this is the Investic pack, so that's the 3 adults and 11 babies.
I haven't heard of any other packs coming through the area.
No.
These guys were last in Bambini.
Yeah. So maybe the others are at the dam, perhaps having a water break, but who knows? Right, I got a communication from Kirsten basically through the ether. It's a little bit like trying to talk with the deity. Goodbye.
Everybody check the what?
I don't know.
I don't know if you copied that update. Camilla across north back in the world.
Did she? Okay. All right, great. Thank you. I'll send that update through to Jenny. No.
She operating that side
She's
of
operating there, yes. We're far west, obviously.
Yes.
I can't hear any communication. Might not be live. Might be. Don't know.
Just winging it.
Just winging it. Yeah. Presenting to Brian, basically.
Well, if you want, we can stick around a bit and you can present to...
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
We give you a larger audience. You know you don't mind.
Bye-bye, Craig.
Well, and that's bit hard.
Will you let me know? I've got bad comms here, so if anyone else is here, just let them know only one here.
Okay, copy. I think it's Darby or Andres is in now, and then Darby's making his way, and I think Louis might be on third stand.
All right, cool. Thank you very much.
No problem.
See you there. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, sorry about that, everybody. We do have to keep up neighbourly relations with everyone. I did get a communication from Kirsten. There was a question that has now slipped my mind entirely. About? From Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth, it's been a while since we spoke. You want to know if any of these dogs are collared? They don't seem to be collared at all. No, the Investec pack, if this is the Investec pack, which we think it is, are not collared. There will be pictures, certainly profile pictures of each side, left and right of each of the dogs, and those would have been sent through to the Kruger Park Scientific Services, and they'll have a full database of who the dogs are, but at the moment none of them are collared. Brian, should we sneak forward a little bit? So I also had to ask Craig about updates as to who was coming here and who wasn't. Yeah. What's going on? Then I just want to try and communicate basically through you to Kirsty, who can then talk to Jamie and tell her that Karula crossed north into the Mulwati from Little Gowrie this morning. So if Jamie is around the Mulwati drainage line, it might be a good idea to check on Karula. Who on earth the female leopard tracks we saw this morning then wandering about the final control? Yeah, that's just amazingly confusing. Anyway, so it goes with the leopards. She may have crossed south and then crossed north again. Look at them breathing so hard. I wonder where the rest are. Still dribbling, one of them is, on the left-hand side. So obviously they're not in too much water stress. They certainly will be very hot though. A little bit worried that the others aren't here. And I don't know if anybody saw them arriving at the Arethusa Dam during the day. But certainly they apparently ran past the Arethusa Dam sometime around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So maybe they went there and had a drink and the pack is split up slightly. I'm sure they'll rejoin each other. They could have been separated. Maybe they came across a hyena or something, or 2 or 3 hyenas and they were separated. Who knows? But it's too hot for them to worry too much at the moment about looking for their relatives.
Okay, another question.
Yes, Brian.
From Scorpion 03.
73. Yes.
So changed 3 times, I like that.
Yes.
What kind of prey do the dogs take down?
Right, Scorpion 73. Thank you for your question, via Brian. Scorpion, you want to know what, sorry, I just found that a wonderful Twitter handle. You want to know what wild dogs take down, what do they eat? Scorpion, medium to large antelope, or small antelope out here. So that could be anything from steenbok, which is a sort of 11 kilogram or 25 pound chestnut-coloured antelope, up to the size of in this particular area, maybe a small wildebeest. They may take a kudu cow, which is a large antelope weighing, well, sort of 150 to 180 kilograms, multiplied by 2.2 will take us to roughly, well, a really big one at 400 pounds, but probably about 350 pounds. For a kudu cow, they might take out one of those here. Unlikely though, mostly it will be impala, which are the medium-sized antelope that we get here. Big male, 70 kilos, and a female around about 50. So 50 kilograms, about 170 pounds for a female impala. And of course, Scorpion, there are lots and lots of baby impala around at the moment, and so they'll be feasting on those. Now, we're not going to sit here for too long because I know that there are a few vehicles trying to get into the sighting. So I'm not sure where the others are though. But once another vehicle arrives, it will be time for us to press on, especially as I cannot hear anything. And Brian has got sort of 2 out of 5 communication. 1.5. So if you're asking questions and wondering why on earth I'm not answering them, I promise you I'm not ignoring you. It is the trials of technology. But we are sending you a picture at least, which is fantastic. Now, these are definitely the youngsters. I don't think there are any adults here at the moment. I'm still scanning around here just to see if I can't find some old dappled shapes under the trees. Here's some alarm calling in up ahead. Sounds like some blattises, chin spot blattises. Chip, 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 chip. Maybe the rest of the dogs are up there in the shade.
Got another question here.
Yes.
Mark in Cape Town.
Yes.
Do the wild dogs mate like regular dogs and stay together after mating? Mark in Cape Town.
Thank you, Brian. You heard that from Brian. Mark, here in Cape Town, wonderful to hear from home on the southern tip of the great African continent. You want to know if dogs mate like regular dogs and do they stay together afterwards? I'm a little confused. You mean do they get locked together? Certainly, I don't think they get locked together, Mark.
Would remain a couple.
Yeah, but they do absolutely remain a couple, Mark. They're the alpha pair. The alpha, I think the chap's going off to look where those birds are alarm calling. The alpha pair will definitely stay together. They form a monogamous pair, and they will lead the pack, and they will mate year after year until one of them dies, and then that alpha will be replaced by another dominant male or female, dependent on which one died. A very clever move there by that other game drive chap. I think he's from Chitwa, I think they were. And the tracker also picked up on the alarm calling Battises. I'm just trying to follow what's going on the radio here. Don't want to overstay me welcome. Yeah, I think that's. I can hear the Battises still alarm calling around there. Chip, 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 chip. Maybe these dogs are going to go over there now. Nope, lie down again. Too exhausting. We will go through there and have a look. Let's just stay here for a little while.
We have another question in from Adrenaline Rush.
Adrenaline Rush.
Why are the dogs endangered?
Now, Adrenaline Rush, a very pertinent and very clever question. Why are these dogs endangered? They're the most successful hunters out here, 70% to 80% success rate, much more successful than any of the cats. And why on earth should they be endangered? Well, initially, of course, Adrenaline Rush, they were shot by farmers who came into the area, and they considered the dogs vermin. They were considered to be nasty killers who killed with unnecessary pain to the potential prey, which is, of course, absolute nonsense. But then they came into contact with domestic dogs, and through their contact with domestic dogs, they've come to die of things like rabies and canine distemper, and they pick up all sorts of domestic dog diseases. And because they are so poor at staying within the boundaries of game reserves, you know, they wander very widely. They'll go under fences at moment's notice. They do still come into contact with domestic dogs, and because there are so few of them, a disease can run through the population really fast and really take its toll. So that's basically why they're endangered. Human pressure, habitat loss, and domestic dog diseases would be the major three things that have affected the wild dogs in this area. Alrighty, everybody, I think we're going to call this quits. We've had a wonderful sighting of the dogs. There are other people trying to get into the sighting. I'm just not sure. And we obviously can't talk to the final control, so I'm just not sure. I don't want to overstay our welcome. I know there is someone else coming in. We're going to take a quick turn around where that other vehicle went to see if we can't see the others. And let's just pop around there and see now. Right, everybody. We've come to my little Hyena Den, or should I call it my Hyena Den? I just really like being here, and there's some interesting stuff going on. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to ask our resident hyena expert. This hyena here is the one they call Ntombela, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little bit old, possibly the one born last year around February. So that's what I think that is. And then we've got two more adults here, the usual suspects. We'll show you just now. Well, two more adult suspects, and that's the little one that's been living here. And then there are two adults in that hole, where I'm hoping there will be an emergence of little babies at some stage. She keeps looking up and looking inside the hole and making little... Oh, yeah, exactly. I wonder if they're not suckling as we speak. But I cannot get any closer than this, I'm afraid. There's definitely something going on in that hole. And if I'm not mistaken, our resident hyena expert reckons that those notched ears are indicative of Ntombela's mother. And so that might be who that is. And see, she's got notched ears both on both sides. That presumably is the mother of this other little one here. But who knows? I'm guessing wildly here. I'm really just hoping one day when I arrive here, there's going to be a little black head that is stuck out of the den to say hello to us. I think that will happen eventually. Just need to be patient. I just hope it happens before I go on leave, which will be on Saturday. So I think her backside with the teats on it is probably inside the den, so they might be too little yet to come out, and they'll be suckling, inside. And interestingly, the one that's just stood up, if that's the mother of the little one here, when Corky came around here the other day, she disappeared right inside the other hole. She got such a fright, and Corky gave her such a kind of roasting that she disappeared right inside. The cicadas seem to be in full cry now. They don't mind the heat in the slightest.
You on the break?
And I'm sure that other hyena has probably gone back to the other den. But again, everything is at peace, and when those cicadas stop, there's very little sound at all. It's almost eerie. I find it absolutely astounding. I've never heard the bush this quiet. Just one dove calling behind us. Proo, proo, proo. That's it, call them out. Come on. She's talking to them. I'm sure she's cleaning them, actually. Oh, this is so frustrating. Come on, bring them out. That's it. That's it. Yes, 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 come on. Come on. It's just a greeting ceremony going on there. Come on. Isn't this fascinating? Frustrating at the same time. Hyenas, as we know, oh, she's just laying down there now. That one is now anal pasting. She's just laying down to suckle them again inside the den. Oh, it's so close, everyone. I think we're days off having them out. She's not gone right into the hole. Maybe she's going to haul one of them out. Come and show us. Wish I knew what they were saying to each other. And now all is quiet again. How very frustrating. Juan, where are the little hyenas?
Inside.
Ah, yes. There you are. Shannon, you say I'm not allowed to go on leave. Shannon, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I think that you're going to find having, well, first of all, Uncle Steph will be taking drives for a little while with Jimmy before the Adonis-like figure of Scott Dyson returns, bronzed from the beaches of Cape Town, and he will cut a far more dashing sight than I behind the seat of the Land Rover or walking in front of you. No one ever accused him of having a bubble butt while he was on a walk. And if those of you who are new viewers wondering what that is, I had to look it up myself. I would advise you not to. It'll disturb you for weeks. Gillian was constantly wanting to know when I leave and when I'm coming back. I'm leaving on Saturday at 0500, so I won't be driving Saturday morning, and I think I'm back around the 28th or 29th, I'm not sure exactly. So close. I really think we're days away, maybe tonight, but maybe just a few days until these little things come out. I will be so excited I might whoop for joy, which will of course send them scuttling back in for a couple of weeks. Brian, if I look like I'm about to whoop, just hit me on the back of the head. So we've got 3 minutes left to drive, 2 minutes left of me, 2 minutes for the little cubs to come out. Come on, cubs. I don't think we're going to be lucky, I'm afraid. What have you seen, Brian? Ah, the return of she who I called Bella. No, he who I called Bella. Looks like a he. A slight pinching on the end of that dangly bit. Very lovely hyena, that one. I must say they don't age. They don't age particularly well, these hyenas. They're very gorgeous when they're little, but by the time they get to the age of Corky, they tend to look slightly more, well, weathered. All right, everyone, that's it from me today.